know, so I know that, the story as far as, the addiction took you for 11 years. But I'd like, to kind of step into that for a moment and I, I would just like to know, because people, there's a lot of judgment, that there's judgment
Oh,
in
I
every
don't care. Let them judge, man.
as
I'm not
far as
worried.
like, how they view, but I'm assuming it's not just you go from the Navy and being like in cheer to all of a
No,
sudden on the street, you
no,
know, giving your
no.
body
It
away.
progresses. It
Yeah. So
definitely.
can you kind of just, for a few minutes, just kind of walk us through what that progression looked like, from like getting them from your doctor to like you decided you needed freaking help because this is insane. What does that look like?
So, okay, it's a jumbled mess for one, because yeah, the things a person will do who's addicted to opiates, or I mean, it may not just be opiates that makes somebody do the things like this or whatever. It may be other stuff, but I became a person. I had no clue. I was, didn't know who I was when I started. I dang sure didn't know who I was when I got where I went. But so it, I mean, yeah, you become addicted to something that you have to, you have to pay for. You have to be able to facilitate every single day. And with every day of you getting it, you have to, your tolerance goes up and it goes up. So you have to get more. And then, street value goes up because doctors won't prescribe them to you anymore. And then you don't get the high from swallowing them or snorting them anymore. So you see what happens when, like, okay, maybe I can, you know, shoot them up, bang them. That's what, people in that world call it. It's intravenous use with a needle or syringe, whatever, however you want to say it. Uh, you start using intravenously to get a better, faster, longer lasting high, cheap, so that way you're not buying 10 pills or whatever compared to 4 or however you're doing it. And it's not cheap. It gets expensive, and then you get to supporting more than yourself's habit and supporting yours habit and someone you become codependent on because you're both addicts and you codepend on each other, and you're there to pretty much what's that word, enable each other and be each other's excuse. So uh I don't know how I even got to that point, but point I was dancing, and I remember telling my dad when I told him about me dancing, like it was really hard for me to tell him that. And believe it or not, I actually didn't start dancing because of pills. I started dancing because I was pregnant and I had a kid and I lost my job because I was bartending, like, and I mean, because I had gotten off the Lortabs when I had Jason. So, like I found out I was pregnant, I was done and everything. And I literally was a bartender at this place in Gainesville. And then I went to work one night and bam, the entire bar's closed. And there's like 3 of us standing out there, like waiting to go into work. And nobody knows my rent's due like in 2 weeks or whatever. So I got paid from this new job. And I just moved in with my brother and my sister in law. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to make money fast. So I went to dancing. And then obviously I quit, found something better. But then the pills led me back to dancing. And I told my dad, I was like, well, it's better than, stripping, or that better than prostitution. At least I'll never do that. And he told me, looked me dead in the face and said, never say never, baby. You never know what you might have to do to survive. But my dad
Wow.
was just, he was that kind of man, he could, it's insane, the
The insight.
intuition my
Yeah.
dad, it was nuts. But yeah, I mean, dancing became, I can make more money and support myself better and do this. One person offers, you take them up on that offer because you're sick. All you're thinking about is getting what you need, getting your fix right then. And I mean, you will lie to your family, you will lie to your friends, some will steal, um, And in some cases, you can absolutely 100% say what I did. It was both lying and stealing several times to my family and friends. I would go and say, "Hey, I need to pay this bill, or I need to get this." And I mean, they're not dummies. I mean, I know that some of them were wanting to believe that I wasn't, lying to them, that I really was using it for certain things. And, but no, I was using it, shooting it right up my arm. And, uh,
Wow.
yeah, I never thought in a million years I would be able to look my own dad in the face and lie to him and know that he knows I'm lying to him in order to get money to support something that I know is disgusting and that I hate. And
Yeah.
it getting to that point and not even being able to look myself in the face, and then realizing like, oh my God, I'm out here doing this with all these strangers. Like, I'm becoming somebody I am completely 100% ashamed of. I've done shame my entire family, my friends. I've completely done the opposite of what I wanted to become, because I told my dad my whole life growing up, like, I want to be someone like you when I get older. I want to be respected and loved and admired. I want to be a success when I grow up. And I got to a point to where I realized, like, I can't even look myself in the face, and I can't even talk to my dad on the phone. I avoided him at all costs. I mean, the heartache and the disgust and the shame that I saw in his face was all it took, because I never thought in a million years that I would actually see shame in my dad's face by me. And all I ever wanted to do was make him proud. But no, I didn't. I screwed it up. But that that man, I mean, yeah, I shamed a lot of my family, and I embarrassed them, and I did them wrong. And they didn't understand then, and it's not for them to understand. It wasn't, they did nothing wrong. uh, I I am a grown girl, a big girl, grown woman, however you want to put it. I can admit now, you know, um, yeah, I screwed up big time, and it will cause you to do that. I mean, I didn't. When you don't even want to look at your child, you don't want to go out with your kid. You don't want to see your family, your friends. You literally like disappear from everybody because you don't want to have to lie to them, but you're dang sure not going to tell them the truth, of what you're doing. And then whenever you actually have some of your siblings coming up to you and saying, "Hey, a coworker of mine said that they saw you on this website. Is this true?" And
Wow.
you realize how much you just shamed your own sibling or relative, that and how embarrassed they must be, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Were you ever scared at any point?
Scared of what? I was scared every day. um yes, I mean, it's constant fear. I mean, I was constantly afraid that my addiction would not let me be there if something happened to my dad, or my addiction would not ever let me be there for my oldest son, or my addiction was going to cause me to really lose my 3-year-old also, which he wasn't 3 at the time, like, or that I'd end up dead somewhere, or I mean, in all honesty, I was on a path to self-destruction. It got so bad at 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 the very end. I was so disgusted with who I was, and so just done with everything, and what I had become, that I I did everything I could to just make it worse, in a sense. I mean, it's almost like you think, okay, well, it's never going to get better, so screw it. I'll just go ahead and speed up the process and get it all over with. But then there's that day when, like, something, a complete total stranger who doesn't really know much about you, just looks at you and they're like, this is not the life you should be living. This is not you. Like, and it clicked, and I realized how much power I'd given a little tiny, tiny, tiny white pill, and how much I was wanting to figure out who I was, because I mean, I was so confused at such a young age. I had so much heaviness on me that all I did was go backwards instead of forwards. And I ended up doing one of the absolute things I had wanted so long to not do. Like growing up, I like my brothers and my sister on my dad's side, they didn't live with me because, you know, they were all older and everything. All I ever wanted to do was impress them, and you know, make them proud of me, you know, and proud to call me their little sister and everything. Because, you know, things were different. You know, you got older siblings, younger siblings, you know, you kind of looked at things a little different, like, oh, you're like a grandkid or whatever. And, well, I wanted to be seen, you know, as their sibling. And instead of me doing that, instead of me, you know, making them proud and gaining their approval, and not necessarily approval, but you know what I mean, making them want to say, yeah, that's my little sister, all I did was do the opposite. So yeah, try extra hard now to, you know, prove myself. But it's not even about that so much anymore. It's about, I actually really feel like now I am definitely the woman my daddy wanted me to be.
Oh,
And it's actually really hard for me to say because I constantly doubt myself, but like I get constant confirmations now lately, and reminders and stuff. And I mean, it's everything's going so good, and the Omi's like sitting there waiting for the sky to fall out, you know, like, no, this isn't supposed to happen. Like, something bad's gonna happen. But it's like I told you on the phone, like, you know, talking to you was a blessing in that group. It was just like it was like, I mean, when my daddy literally passed away exactly 1 month and a week after I had been sober. I had only been sober from an 11-year addiction for 1 month and 1 week when my whole world passed away.
oh,
So, yeah, a lot of people said if she can make it through this and stay sober, then she's really serious this time.
wow.
Well, almost 2 years later, here we go.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I have to keep myself promising, you know, and focusing on the fact that I I I wasn't able to make my dad proud the way I wanted to while he was here. Eh, So I flat refuse to, you know, not do it, you know, before I go, and before, I mean, since he's up there, he can help me. He can guide me still and everything, and I'm not gonna, like you said, I'm not gonna let any of this be in vain. It's I was meant to go through that for a reason. But
What was the turning point? How did this all come to be? You kind of mentioned a person said something. Was that
yeah, it was it's crazy because like it gives me goosebumps, you know, talking about it and stuff. Like God works in some crazy, crazy, crazy ways, because it's incredible actually, because you don't realize this until you're actually like further along, just exactly how perfect a path is drawn out, and how every experience and every introduction with someone has some type of impact on your life, or was meant for, and you may not realize it then. Just like I had no idea that the person that told me that was, I mean, it took that person, not the fact of who he was, but the fact of who he wasn't, if that makes sense. He wasn't just a family member or a friend, or you get what I'm saying? He was somebody that it resonated, like it sunk, it hit me, because other people had told me before, yeah, you're better than that. But then again, at the same time, the negative stuff uh, is always easier to believe than the positive stuff for some reason. I don't
Yeah.
understand why that is with people, but it is. It really, really is. So when for so many years, I'd have once in a blue moon, somebody would say something like, you're better than that. But then you'd have 10 other people say, oh yeah, you're not going to be anything, you're just worthless, just like blah, blah, blah. And, just put you down as much as they can. And it, for some reason that one specific thing just hit that one person, and the fact that it happened the way that it did, because had he not come along and that said that to me at that time, I would not have been able to see my daddy before he passed away. I would not have been able to start my sobriety before he actually passed away. I would not have been able to see him on his birthday, which was exactly 1 week before he passed away, and give him a hug and a kiss, because I would have been off trying to facilitate my habit. I would have been trying
Wow.
to high, and see what I'm saying? Like it's ooh, it
Wow.
literally gives me goosebumps and chills. And that person was exactly the how to say it the forceful no that I needed. I mean, because moms are great, aunts are great, uncles are great, but I learned at a very young age, and I hate saying this, but I admit I learned at a very young age how to manipulate.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And yes, so you know, my mom wanted to stay with me through my detox. Oh, it was nothing but a cinch. If I really wanted to go get something during my detox, I could make it happen, not a problem. And it's not her fault. I did it. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
This person was sent to me specifically because it didn't matter how many lampshades I threw at him, how many times I cussed at him, how many times I hit him. It did not matter. He said no. And he point blank, not only did he tell me I was worth better than that, he made me. I mean, he would not give in to me and me. He Yeah, I had met my match when it comes to Tiffany's negotiating skills and manipulation skills of, okay, I'm really sick, dude. Like, I really need to go. No, I don't care. You can be sick. You can hit me. You can do whatever. I don't care. I'm not doing it. And yeah, it was hard, but every second was more and more worth it. And to be able to give my dad a kiss on his cheek on his birthday, stone cold sober, was probably the greatest ever. Even if my
Wow.
daddy didn't really know exactly who it was at the time, because by that time he was on his way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wow.
it's like I would not have, none of that would have happened. I wouldn't have. I mean, to be honest, I probably wouldn't even be here right now. And not saying that he did it all. No, no, he just, God put him in my life to, you know, everybody has a purpose and an effect on everybody throughout life. And you don't know why or how until you're further along. And then it's like I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness, I get excited about it. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I see where this is going. It's just like you get confirmations and stuff. It's awesome. I mean, not to mention, like, me and my brother that hadn't spoken for 20 years. Yes, we're on speaking terms. Yes, we are. My
Wow.
family that had, 100% understandable, hadn't corresponded with or talked to very much at all in 10 years or better, or, maybe a little less, a little more, conversing. Like
Wow.
it's incredible. But, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.